Hi, hope you are doing good. My name is Veer and welcome to a new video. In this video, we will do a quick analysis of the upcoming IPO KFin Tech and whether you should subscribe to this IPO. So this IPO is slated to open for subscription on 19th December. The issue price at the lower band is Rs 347 and at the upper band is Rs 366. The total issue size of this IPO is 1500 crore and it is completely an offer for sale. The market value of this IPO post the issue at the upper band of 366 would be 6133 crores. This was a brief description about the issue details. Now let us briefly understand what is the business of KFin Tech. So KFin Tech is essentially a leading technology-driven platform service provider to the capital market ecosystem. In simpler words, we can bifurcate the business of KFin Tech into four parts. Number one, their clients are the mutual fund companies. Now these mutual fund companies have a lot of work at their disposal. They have to manage the fund, they have to do research, sales, distribution, marketing. So they tend to outsource some of the work which does not come under their core expertise. And this is where companies like KFin Tech comes into picture. So KFin Tech essentially records all the transaction of a mutual fund company. So in a given period of time, a mutual fund would see a number of SIP inflows coming in. They would see a lot of investors investing lump sum amount into their funds. They would also witness a lot of people withdrawing their funds. So KFin Tech essentially keeps a record of all these transactions, and this is one of the services which they provide to their mutual fund clients. Their second clients are those companies who are about to list their shares in the market. So here, KFin Tech's responsibility is to record every applicant of an IPO. They are also responsible for the allotment of shares, share transfers, and refund initiation. Third, their clients are the corporates, the companies. So here, the primary responsibility of KFin Tech is to help the company, is to help the corporate clients in the events of splits, bonuses, or dividends. And lastly, they are also one of the three central record keeping agencies in India for the National Pension Scheme. So this was a quick overview of the business of KFin Tech. Now, where do they get their revenues from? So if we look at their revenue mix, we understand that 68% of their revenues comes from the domestic mutual fund business. 15% of their revenues come from the international operations which they do. 13% of their revenues comes from the share transfer registry, and the rest 4% comes from their pension business. So this was a brief introduction on how they get their revenues from. So now if we look at their financials, in March 2022, the company witnessed a healthy growth of 31.5% in their AUM. Similarly, they also witnessed a good 32.9% growth in their revenues and 35.2% growth in their operating income. So now here we need to understand that companies like KFin Tech, how do they generate income? So essentially, as I mentioned before, they offer services to the mutual fund clients, and in return they get a fee. Now that fee which they get is a certain percentage of the client's AUM. So as the AUM of their mutual fund clients would grow, their income would also grow in proportion. And this is why we see a sort of correlation between the AUM growth and the operating income growth. Now if you see the margins, as you can see from your screen, the company enjoys a healthy margins of around 44 to 45%. This is why, because the company operates in an industry which is capital light. They do not really have to incur a lot of capex and opex to carry on their businesses and operations. Finally, in March 2022, the company reported a net profit of 148.5 crore against a net loss of 64.5 crores in March 21. Now if we calculate their PE multiple, so at their upper price band, the PE multiple of KFin Tech comes at 36. Now if we compare this PE multiple with their competitor CAMS, now CAMS is a leader in this industry. The PE of CAMS is 39.2. So if we do a head-on-head comparison, we definitely feel that the valuation with which KFin Tech is coming is on a higher side. So the big question is, should you subscribe to the IPO of KFin Tech? As previously mentioned, we believe that the IPO is priced slightly on a higher side. So as of now, we don't see the IPO generating bumper listing on its opening day. However, the GMP trends in the coming few days would give us a clearer picture. Fundamentally speaking, the industry in which this company operates has a very healthy future. As you can see from the chart, the AUM, the industry AUM has been growing at 15% CAGR from March 17 to September 22. And we believe this trend is bound to sustain going ahead as well. Investing in this IPO is basically believing that the financialization of savings in India will continue to happen. Is believing that the India's capital market will keep on growing, India's equity mutual fund market will keep on growing. And we definitely agree to this sentiment. So keeping in mind the industry fundamentals, keeping in mind the company fundamentals and the financial performance, we recommend our investors to subscribe to this IPO for long-term perspective. Thank you.